everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, fine, guys. Yeah. Today we are going to see, okay, the hashCode. Right? Hashcode method. So, which is available in object class. Right? Fine. So now, what is hashcode, guys? What is hashcode? For every object, okay, JVM is going to generate what, guys? One unique code.
Unicode.
Okay. So that is nothing but hashcode. Okay. So now, right. So now, actually, the people used to say the hashcode is nothing but the address of the object.
object.
Okay. But here, I mean, in Java, the hashcode is nothing but what, guys? The unique number which is generated by JVM for
JVM.
every object. Okay. So now, actually, in Java, okay, we cannot we cannot get address of the object, guys. Okay, so Java is developer friendly language. Java is not machine friendly language. Okay, so now, so we cannot communicate, we cannot get what is the address of the object and what is the size of the object. Okay, so we cannot get as a developer. So we don't have uh, that much APIs to know the what is the address of the object, what is the size of the object in Java. Okay, so now here hashcode means for every object there is a unique number will be generated by JVM. Okay, that is nothing but what? Hashcode. Okay, so now if you see, let's suppose hashcode is what, guys? Method. Where it is available? Where it is available, guys? Hashcode method. In which class it is available?
Inside the superclass means object class.
Object class, right? Object class.
Sir.
So now object class is what? For every Java object class is a superclass, right? So now, yeah, we can override hashcode or not. If it is a, so I mean, for object class is a superclass for every Java class, right? So in that case, in our subclass, if you want, we can override or not hashcode.
Yes.
Hashcode method, we can override.
We can
Right?
override.
If you override means what? We have to provide our own implementation.
Implementation, yes.
Right. So if you provide your own implementation, how it would be address of the object then? We cannot change the address of the object, right?
Yes, sir.
Understand or
Yes,
not?
sir. Yes, sir.
We cannot change the address of the object, right? So now we can override hashcode method in our subclass. If you override and if you put your own number, your own implementation, then how then address of the object can be changed, guys? Right? So that's what here hashcode is represent, okay, the unique number which is generated by JVM for every Java object. Okay, hashcode is not representing address of the object. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now here one more thing. Right. So now hashcode. Okay. So what is the purpose of hashcode now then? Understand? So what is the purpose of hashcode now? Okay. So we are using this hashcode. Okay. So while while saving objects into hashing data structures, JVM by default use, okay, this hashcode of the object by saving that object into hashing related data structures, guys. Okay, what are the hashing related data structures we have? Okay, these are the
Linear
data structures we have. Hash table. Okay, next.
Hash set. Hash map.
Hash map. Hash set.
Hash set.
So these are the, okay. So hashing related data structures we have. Understand? Now, so and where we are using this hash code, you know, so while saving object, okay, so JVM will use this hash codes while saving the objects into this particular, okay, hashing related data structures. Let's suppose if you take, this is the data structure, let's assume. Okay, this is, let's suppose, either hash table or hash set. Okay, hash set data structure. In hashing data structures, okay, so now here entities we used to call it as buckets, guys. Okay, like that we will have. Now, for every object we have what, one hash code, right? Let's suppose there is a student object. There is a student object. So now I want to save the student object into where now? Let's suppose this is S1 object. Okay. I want to save this student S1 object into where, guys? In the hash set. Okay. So now in hash set, I mean the hashing related data structures. Okay. But there is a what do you call buckets, right? So every bucket has what? Some address. Okay. Now let's suppose what is the student S1 hash code. Let's assume student S1 hash code is 100. Okay. Now this S1 object is going to save where, guys? Let's suppose this is the address 100 related bucket. Let's assume. Okay. Now this first object, this S1 object is going to save where, guys? In this first okay bucket. The bucket which is having 100 as the address. Understand? Now in the same way, if we have another object, S2 object. Okay. So let's suppose the S2 object has code 200. Let's assume. Now I need to save this object into where, guys? In the hash set. Okay. So JVM will save this hash code, I mean this object, okay, by using hash code of this object. Okay. Now here 200 is the address of this bucket. Okay, in this data structure, in the hashset data structure. Now this object is going to save where? Here in the 200 address. Understand, guys, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So like that, all the objects will be going to save where? In the hash set based on hash code of that object. Okay. So now if you go with if you go like this, so what what will be improved, guys? Performance will be improved, okay, if your requirement is such operation. Understand? If your requirement is such operation, then performance will be improved. Okay, so easily we can search that particular object, okay, what you want. Understand? See, what are the search algorithms we have, guys? What are the
Linear,
search algorithms we have?
linear,
Linear algorithm, okay, linear search,
binary.
right? Linear search, binary search. Okay. So now hashing. Okay. Hashing algorithms. So these are the algorithms we have. Okay. To search the elements, guys. Okay. If you use linear search, so means what? For each and every object, okay, we need to choose, guys. Understand? I think yesterday we discussed on this linear search, right? So
Yes,
if you have 100 students, 100 students are sitting in one room. Okay, now I want to call out, okay, the student which is having name like Ramu or something, Ramesh. Okay, so I want to call out Ramesh student. So now in linear search, how it is implemented, for each and every object we have to, for each and every student we need to ask, hey, the first student. So we have to start with the first student. Understand? So are you Ramesh? Are you Ramesh? Are you Ramesh? Like that, how many times we have to search, guys? If there are 100 students, okay, what is the combinations? I mean, how much time it will take to search? What is the worst scenario? Let's suppose for each person it is taking 1 minute, let's assume, then 100 minutes will be the worst scenario to found that particular, okay, student name called Ramesh. Am I right or wrong? Maybe
Yes.
that Ramesh student, okay, maybe he's sitting at last bench, at last chair. That is the 100th chair. So that time, what is the worst scenario here? It took 100 minutes to search what Ramesh. If you go with what? Linear search, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So now, if you go with binary search, what will happen, guys? Binary search, right? So binary search means what? Okay, divided by 2. So in the binary search, okay, the students will sit in what? Alphabetical order. Now, the name who is starting with letter A, okay, all the people they are sitting with first row, okay, next B, all the people sitting in second, B row. So like that, people will use it to sit, okay. So now, let's suppose I want whom Ramesh, right? So now we have to divide this entire row into by 2, okay, like this, guys. Now, so what is the first letter? R, right? So now we need to see whether letter R is less than here or greater than here. So like that we have to search. Understand? So now
Yes,
if R is R is sitting under right side, then we have to ignore the first one, the first page here. Okay. Now we have to consider what? Right side. Okay. Understand? Again, we have to by 2. The right side page we have, right? Again, the right side row we need to by 2. From here, we have to verify where the R is, okay? Where the R is sitting, whether left side or right side. Okay? Let's
yes, sir.
assume R is sitting on left side. Now we need to ignore what, guys? The right side. Now we have to consider what? Only this piece. Again, this piece also will be divided into what? By 2. Okay. Now again we have to search where the R is, okay, sitting, whether left side or right side. Okay. R is less than this side or greater than this side. Like that we have to search. Okay. So like that we have to keep on search like this until founding the R. Understand?
Yes, sir.
So this is what, guys, binary search. So in the binary search also, okay, definitely it will take time, guys. Okay. So if you have more number of students means definitely here also time will be taken. Understand? To
Yes,
found
sir.
the correct person. Okay. Now, if you go with this hashing mechanism, so what we are doing now? So based on hash code, we are going to store that object into, okay, hashing related data structure. Let's suppose hash set. Okay. Now I want to store the particular objects into hash set algorithm. Okay, hash set mechanism. So how can we store now? Based on the hash code of this object, JVM is going to save all the objects. Okay. Now let's suppose Ramesh student, his hash code is 100. Okay, so where this student or MS student object, stored in the hash set, guys, the same 100 hash code related bucket. Okay, this is the address of the bucket. So that object will be saved into here. Now someone came and asked, okay, so I want to get the Ramesh object. Okay, so by the time what we will see, what is the hash code of the Ramesh? Okay, so what is the hash code of the Ramesh object? 100. So directly
100.
we will go and verify. Okay, directly we will go and search in the 100th address of the bucket. Okay, if the object is available there, then we can directly, okay, pick that object. If that object is not available in that particular location, directly we can say what? So there is no student called Ramesh. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So in this approach, so definitely the search operation will be easy or not?
Faster, sir.
Right? If the repeated, if your, the repeated requirement, if your requirement is such operation. Okay, so definitely we have to go with what, guys? These kind of mechanisms. Okay, because such operation will be faster and will be easy.
Yes, sir.
Performance will be up to mark. Understand? If you go with this related algorithms, hashing related algorithms, if your frequent requirement is such operation, so what is the better algorithms we have to go? Hashing related mechanisms. Okay, hashing related algorithms. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So
Yes, sir.
now, yeah, fine, guys. So now, right. So now, so there is a hash code method where it is in object class. Okay. Now I have a student class student. Okay, this is what, guys? Class student. So now int std id, student id. Okay, next string student name. Okay, guys, we have two variables, int student id, string student name.
Student name.
Right. So now so now if you are not overriding hash code method, then which hash code method will be invoked, guys?
Object class.
Object class hashcode method.
Object class hash code method has been invoked. Right. So now let's suppose I have a public static void main method, string args. In this method, just I want to print what? Yes, hash code of that, hash code of my object. I'm creating object student s1 is equal to new student. Okay, guys, I created one object. Now I want to see what is the hash code of my object. System.out.println. Now, how can I see, guys? S1 dot, what is the method? Hash code
Hashcode.
method. Right? I have to call what? S1 dot hash code method. Right? So now if I call s1 dot hash code method, I can see what? I can see what? Hash code of my
Hashcode of
object.
S1. Yes,
Student
sir.
s1 object. Right? Now, so if you call s1 dot hash code method, then which hash code method will be called, guys? And which class hash code method will be called?
Object class hashcode.
Object class hash code method has been called. Why? So because we did not implement hash code method in our student class. Okay, if you are not implementing, then superclass hash code method will be invoked. Right? That already we know. Right? So now in the superclass hash code method, means object class hash code method, how they implemented, okay, to generate the hash code, guys, you know, so they are using internally, okay, address of the object, okay, real address of the object they are going to use, guys. Okay, address of the object, and after that maybe they are using some patterns. Okay, some algorithms like 3 star 3 4, okay, and divided by 2, something. Understand? So finally they will typecast into which format? Int format, int type. Okay, so they will use some different patterns. We don't know what is the pattern they will use. Okay, so by using address of the object, okay, and addition to that, they will use some other pattern to generate what, guys? As code of the object. Finally it will convert into int type, and finally it will generate, okay, hash code of the object. Understand? So how they are getting address of the object, we don't know, because who implemented this one? Java people implemented. Where? in the object class. Where the hashCode method is there?
Object class.
Object class.
The object class. So internally in the object class hashCode method, how they implemented to generate hashCode means, so they are using address of the object and as well as, understand? So they are using some other different patterns to generate what, guys? Hashcode of the object. Okay. So by using this pattern, finally hashcode is generated. Let's assume. So what is the hashcode? It is generated by using this pattern. Let's assume. Okay. 9876. Okay. 54. Let's assume, guys. This is the hashcode. Okay. Now, so do you think this is address of the object? If you print system.out.println on s1.hashcode,
No, sir.
so this is the output. Let's assume we are getting 7654. This is the value we are seeing as a output. Okay. If you call s1.hashcode method. So do you think, so this is the address of the object?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So this is what, guys? Hashcode of the
Hash code
object.
of the object.
Okay. This hashcode does not represent what? Address of the object. Okay. So but in superclass, in object class hashcode method, how they implemented? Internally they are using what? Address of the object, and after that they are applying some other patterns, some other algorithms, okay, to generate what, guys? Hashcode. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So no, fine. So no. So in our class, so can we override hashcode method, guys? Let's suppose we are defining some user defined class. Let's suppose here student class or employee class or department class. Like that, we may create n number of our user defined classes or not.
Yes, sir.
So can we override hashcode method?
Yes, sir.
We can override, right? So
Yes,
where,
sir.
where the hashcode method is available?
Object class.
Object class, right? So object class means what? It is a root parent class for every Java class, right? So parent class methods, can we override in subclass?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yes, we
We
can.
can override, right? So that's what we can also override what, guys? Hashcode method. Fine? No. So now we will override hashcode method in our student class. Okay? Ready?
Yes,
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
STD ID. Now string STD name, student name. Okay? Student ID and student name. Fine? Now. So we need to override what, guys? We want to override what, guys? Override method, hashcode method, which is available in what?
Object class.
Object class. Tell me how to override. Public int hashcode. So this is the method, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now you tell me. So what is hashcode, guys? For every object, right? For
Unique-
every
it's a
object,
unique code.
so JVM will create what? Unique
Unique
number,
code.
right? Unique number. So now, while overriding hashcode method, so you have to be override in a proper way. Understand or not?
Yes, sir.
So while overriding hashcode method in our subclass, okay, make sure you have to override, you have to implement hashcode method in a proper way. If you are not overriding hashcode method, I mean you are not implementing hashcode method in your subclass, in your child class, okay, not a proper way, then it is going to create what, guys? Problems. So what are the problems? Understand? Let's assume. So here, let's suppose. So this is the class, right? So now here I'm giving what? Return 100. Fine? Return 100. So now I have one more class test. In the class test, we have our public static void main method. string args. So here what I'm doing, student S1 is equal to new student. Okay. Now S1 dot what? Hashcode.
hashCode.
Okay. Now student S2 is equal to new student. Okay. Now S2 dot hashcode I'm calling. Okay. In the same way, I'm creating one more student object. Student S3 is equal to new student. Fine. Now S3 dot hashcode. Right. So now, tell me what is the output, guys, here. So when I'm calling s1 dot hashcode method, what is the value here we will see as output if you call this method
100.
s1 dot hashcode? 100. Right. When you call s2 dot hashcode method, what is the output you will see here?
Same 100, sir.
100. Right. So when you call s3 dot hashcode, what is the output you will see here?
100.
100. Understand? See,
Yes.
what you are understanding now? For
We are
each and
not
every
generating.
object, the
Same
hashcode is same.
hashcode is assigned.
Understand? For each and every see. So where you override hashcode method? In your student class.
Student class.
Right? So now, you're overriding hashcode method in student class. Now after creating object of student class, you are calling s1 dot hashcode method. So in this time, which hashcode method will be implemented? Which hashcode method will be called, guys? I mean, student class hashcode method will be called or object class hashcode method will be called
Student class hashcode.
student class hashcode method will be called, right? So
Yes, sir.
if the hashcode method implemented in your class, why the control has to go to a parent class and has to search, right? In your class, if you are not to override hashcode method, then only control will go and search in parent class. Understand? See here, s1 dot hashcode method. What is the reference variable here? S1. So first of all, it will go and verify what is the type of S1? What is the type? Student.
Student.
Understand? Now, what is the runtime object type here? Student. Right? So now, in student class, first it will go and verify whether is there any hashcode method or not. Is there any hashcode method or okay? Like that, it will go and verify. So, do we have hashcode method in student class?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have, right? So if we have hashcode method in student class, then this hashcode method will be invoked.
Yes.
Understand? If the hashcode method is not available in our student class, then parent class hashcode method will be such. If there is a method in parent class, then that method will be invoked. So that is the polymorphism, right? Come on.
Yeah.
In the method resolution,
Yes,
method
sir.
resolution will be taken care by whom? JVM based on runtime object. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Based on runtime object. What is the runtime object here? This one, new student type. Okay. Now, which hashcode method will be invoked? Our hashcode method will be invoked. I mean, student class hashcode method will be invoked. So in the student class hashcode method, so what is the implementation you provided? For every object, when you call hashcode method, just return 100. Right? Now I'm s1 dot hashcode method. For this time also I'm giving 100. S2 dot hashcode method. This time also I'm giving 100. S3 dot hashcode method. This time also I'm giving what? 100. So now, if you create any number of object, for each object, what is the unique hashcode here? 100. It's not unique hashcode. What is the hashcode here? 100.
100.
Right? It is against of hashcode or not?
Again, sir.
What is the hashcode rule?
Unique.
For every object,
For every object,
it
there
be
will be a unique
hash
number.
code. Unique hash code, right? Unique number. But here what? For every object, okay, same number.
Hash code is same number.
Understand? So this is proper implementation or improper implementation?
Improper.
Improper implementation.
Improper implementation. right? So now if you use this way, so here let me select. Let's suppose. So what is the purpose we are using hashCode, guys? To store Java objects into where?
Set.
Data structures, hashing data structures, right? Like hash table, hash set. Let's assume this is a hash set. Hash set data structure we are using to store what, guys? This student objects. Okay, we are using hash set algorithm. Okay, to store what? The student objects. Now see S1, student S1. Okay, so now JVM is asking, hey student S1, what is your hash code? Yeah, my hash code 100. Okay, then save in where this is the 100. Let's assume this is the 100 address bucket. Okay, what is this bucket address, guys? 100. So now
100.
what is the first student address hash code? 100. Okay, now JVM is saving this object into here, the first student. Okay, now second student came. JVM is asking, hey, what is your hash code? Now this student is saying my hash code is 100. Okay, now go and save in, okay, 100 bucket here. This is the address of the bucket, right? 100 is right. So now the student S2 object also where it will go and save, guys, the same bucket. Okay, now student S3 came. What is your hash code? 100. Okay, go and save here. Right now, how many objects are saving here? 3 objects. Okay, now if someone is came, okay, so now someone is came, so he want to search what? Okay, some student. Let's suppose student name with Ramesh. Okay, so Ramesh where it is saving? Here only. And Suresh also saving where? Here only. Let's suppose Ganesh. Ganesh also saving where? Here only. Understand? All the students are saving where, guys? Same address. Because all the student objects, what is the hash code? Same hash code. Right? Now, if you want to search, then who is going to, who will going to pick up here? Right? Because everyone will be here only. Let's suppose 100 students are there, guys. So 100 students having same hash code. Now these all the 100 students where they will going to save, guys, in the 100 address of bucket, right? This is the bucket, and what is the address of this bucket? 100. All the students, okay, they're going to store in this 100 address based bucket, right? This 100 address based bucket they're going to save. Now how can we search that one person? Now here also each and every person we have to ask, hey, so what is your name? Hey, what is your name? Hey, what is your name? So it is also look like what?
Linear search.
Linear search. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Definitely here we are facing some difficulty or not?
Yes, sir.
Understand? So that's what. So this way of implementation is proper way of implementation or improper way of implementation?
Improper ways.
Improper way of implementation. So what is the proper way of implementation if you want to override hashCode method?
Every time it need to generate.
Yeah, for every object you have to provide what? Unique hashCode. Understand? The hashCode should not be duplicate. Okay, the hashCode of the objects should not be duplicate. For every object you have to generate what? Unique hashCode. Right?
Yes, sir.
So now see here, the same class I am taking, class student. Okay, int std id, student id, string std name, student name. Okay, int student id, string student name. Fine. Now I'm implementing public int hashCode Okay. Public int hashcode here return student ID. If I implement like this, okay. If I implement if I implement like this, what will happen, guys? Tell me. Student ID. Student ID means what? Or student ID or student roll number. So definitely every student has what, guys? Unique student ID, right? Unique roll number. Am I right or wrong?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Every student should have what, guys? Unique ID or unique roll number, right? So definitely if you use this student ID as a hash code, if you use student ID as a hash code value, so definitely it will become what, guys, now proper way of implementation, right? So now what will happen now? So in the same scenario, right? So here I'm creating class test. In the class test public static void main method, we have string args. Okay. Now in here, I'm trying to create what? Student S1 object. Okay. So next, student S2 object. Student S1 object, student S2 object. In the same way, I'm creating what, guys? Student S3. How many objects I'm creating?
Three
Three
objects.
objects. Three objects I created. Right. So now, if I call S1 dot, okay, system dot out dot println of S1 dot hash code method. Okay. In the same way, I'm trying to print what? Remaining three objects hash code. Here S2 dot hash code. Here S3 dot hash code. Right? Now you tell me if S, okay. So now this is student ID, right? So now, 1 minute, guys. Okay. So we will implement, okay? We will implement proper way. So this is what rough exercise. Now you tell me, so each and every time will I get different hash code or not?
Different one only.
Yes, sir. Different hash code.
Definitely, because student ID will be unique for each and every object, right? So let's
Yes.
suppose I created student object, guys. Is here. Let's assume there is a constructor here, student constructor. Okay. So now student ID, student name. This dot student ID is equal to student ID. This dot student name is equal to student name, right? So while creating student object, you want me to write the proper exercise, a proper example. Let me write here then. See, class student. In the class student, what we have in the roll number otherwise.
Student ID.
Okay. Next string
Student name.
name. Okay. Now I'm taking what? One constructor student int roll number
String name.
string name. Fine. So in this constructor, what I'm doing now?
This
This
dot
dot
roll number equals
roll
to
number equals to
roll number.
roll number. This dot
What name
name
equals
equals to name.
Name.
Fine. This is constructor. Okay. So after that, okay. So now here I'm implementing which method? Public int
hash code.
hash code method. Return, okay, roll number. Okay. Now class closed. Right, guys?
Yes. Sir.
Okay. Now see. Here I'm taking class test. Public static void main string args. So now first I'm creating first student object. Student S1 is equal to new student. Okay. Now while creating student object,
Roll
now which
number.
constructor I have to use?
Parameterized.
Parameterized constructor. What is the roll number? Let's assume 101. Okay. So here let's assume Vignesh. Okay. Now I'm creating one more student. Student S2 is equal to new
Student.
student of,
Some
so
roll
this
number.
time 102. Okay, this time Sai Teja. Okay. The same way, I'm creating one more object student S3 is equal to new student. Now I'm creating roll number 103. Now I'm using what? Okay, Surya. Student name. Fine. Right. Now system.out.println of, okay, s1 dot hash code method I'm calling. Right? Let me copy, guys. Right. Now this is what s2 dot hash code. This is what s3 dot hash code. Okay. Now I completed main method and I completed class. Now you tell me for each and every time when I'm calling by using each and every s1 dot hash code method, s2 dot hash code method, s3 dot hash code method. So what is the hash code you are getting, guys? The same hash code you will see or different hash code?
Different one.
Different one, right? So here unique hash code you will be generating. Understand? So in this example, when you call s1 dot hash code, see s1 dot hash code I'm calling. So what is the s1 object? While creating s1 object, what is the student ID? 101.
101.
Now when you call s1 dot hash code method means, right? So s1 dot hash code, what it will return? When you call hash code method, return roll number, right? So what is the roll number for s1?
101.
101. See, this is the instance variable, right? Roll number. So this 101 will be assigned to whom? The roll number, right? So the name value will be assigned to whom? I mean the Vignesh, okay, Vignesh is the value will be assigned to variable name. Understand? So roll number and name are what? Instance variable. Okay, come on. So here when you call s1 dot hash code method, what is the s1 object data? 101 and Vignesh. 101 is roll number, name is Vignesh. Now when you call s1 dot hash code method, then this hash code method will be invoked. So in the hash code method, what we are returning? Roll number we are returning. So what is the s1 object roll number? 101.
101.
Okay. So what is the s2 object roll number?
102.
102. What is the s3 object roll number?
103.
103. Right? For each and every time, right? For each and every object, we are generating unique hash code or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? For each and every time, we are generating unique hash code. Correct? So now, so this way of implementation is proper way of implementation or improper way of implementation?
Proper way.
Proper way of implementation. Why? So what is the hash code? For each and every object, we need to generate what, guys? Unique hash code. Unique number. JVM will generate what? Unique number, right? So now while overriding, so here, I mean hash code method, who is overriding now? As a developer, we are overriding, right? So now while overriding hash code method, definitely you have to follow what? The same approach what JVM is following. So what JVM is following? For each and every object, it is generating unique
hash
value,
code.
unique number. In the same way, while overriding hash code method in our class, so we also have to implement such a way, guys, right? For each and every object, okay. So while invoking this hash code method, it has to generate what? Unique hash number, unique number. That is called what? Hash code.
Yes, sir.
Clear, everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
right? So now, see here, roll number we are using. Sometimes let's assume if you have in a student class, if you have roll number, name, and what you call subject marks and mobile number, address. Okay. So based on your interest, guys, let's assume by taking roll number and name, okay, you want to generate something, or else based on roll number and mobile number, okay, or else roll number with some other number. Okay, that is up to you. Okay, by combining two properties, you want to generate unique number. Okay, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, so hashCode method, when you call hashCode method means definitely it has to generate what? Unique number. So what is the pattern you have to use? What is the algorithm you have to use? That's up to you. Okay. But while calling this hashCode method, always for each and every object, it has to generate what, guys? Unique value or unique number. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hope you people clear, guys. Right. Now. Now. So, let's see toString method was hashCode method. Okay. toString method was hashCode method. Okay. So now we will see. Right. So now, what is the toString method, guys? What is the implementation of toString method? Tell me, guys. So toString method, where it is available?
In the object class.
Object class, right? In object class, what is the toString method implementation?
Class name.
Already we discussed it, right?
Yes, sir.
Class
What is
name.
the toString method implementation? Tell me, public string, right?
Yes, sir.
toString.
Get class dot get name.
How the object class people, okay? How they implemented, guys, this toString method? Return
Then get
Class
class
name.
get class dot
get name
get name,
Get name.
at the rate
okay, plus
Corejava.
at the rate,
Right.
okay, plus at the rate, next
integer dot hexadecimal hash code.
integer dot, okay, 2 hex string, 2 hexa string. This is the method. Okay, here they are calling which method internally?
Hashcode.
Method.
hashCode.
Okay, this is the implementation. See, as part of toString method implementation, so which method they are calling now? hashCode method they are calling. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you see what toString method, public class, object class toString method, this is the implementation, guys. Right? So now, fine. So now, So now, if you are giving the chance to object class toString method, it internally calls which method, guys? hashCode method. Okay. But if we are overriding toString method, it may not call what? hashCode method. Understand? I think already we completed the toString method.
Yes, sir.
Right? So always it is recommended to override what? toString method in our subclass. Okay. To see what? Meaningful information of an object. toString method. What is the purpose of toString method? String representation of an object, right? So that's
Yes,
what we
sir.
discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
String representation of an object, right? If you are not overriding toString method in your class, then which class toString method will be invoked? Object class toString
Object
method will
class
be
toString
invoked,
method.
right? If you give chance to object class toString method, so what is the implementation? This is the implementation, like, okay, class name at the rate, and it will convert into, I mean, this time it internally call which method? hashCode method.
hashCode method.
Okay, so hashCode method it will call. So now, which hashCode method it will call now? Which class hashCode method it will call now?
Object class and
Object class hashCode method it will call. If you are not override hashCode method in your subclass. Understand? So in object class hashCode method, how they implemented? By using address of the object, and after that, on top of that, they are appending some patterns, some algorithms. Finally, they generate what? One unique number. Okay, that unique number will be converted into which format? Hexadecimal format. Okay, so finally you will see class name at the rate hexadecimal format of hashCode. Correct? That is the output we are going to see, right?
Yes, sir.
When you call toString method, if you are not override toString method in your class, in your subclass. Okay, fine. Now, yeah. So now, see. Now, here I am creating one class case. Okay, now we will see different patterns now. Class test I am creating. In the class test int I. Okay, now test int I. This dot I is equal to I. Okay, public static void main string args. Okay, now see, test t1 is equal to test. Okay, now here I'm giving 10. Let's assume. Now I'm creating one more object. Test t2 is equal to new test. Here I'm giving 100. Okay, now system.out.println of t1 I'm calling. I'm trying to print. System.out.println of t2 I'm trying to print. Okay, now tell me this time what is the output, guys? Tell me system.out.println of t1.
10, sir.
Karna?
10 and 100.
I don't know what
We
you
are
guys
not
are.
overriding hashCode, so it will get the object class hashCode.
So here you tell me here what I'm doing, system.out.println of t1. T1 means what, guys?
Test class object.
Test class object. So what I want to print here, I want to print that object information, right? So object information means which method it will call? Which method it will call? ToString method it will call.
Yes, sir.
Day before yesterday only, right? You completed this class.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why you guys are not speaking anything? You're telling wrong answers here. So system.out.println of t1. T1 means what? Test class object, right? If you try to print test class object, so internally which method it will be invoked, guys? ToString method will be invoked, right?
Yes, sir.
Here we are trying to print what? Object information. Okay, object information means what? String representation of object information we want to print, right? That's what internally which method it will call? ToString method will be called t1.toString method. Now tell me, when you call t1.toString method, then what is the output now?
Class name test at the rate of
Right.
hashCode.
right? So now object class toString method will be invoked. Why? Because you are not overriding toString method in your class.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Come on, right? Now, so while calling object class toString method, so what is the implementation of object class toString method? Get class dot get name, right?
It-
Get class dot get name means test at the rate integer dot to x string of hashCode. So which method we are calling here? hashCode method is calling. Okay. Now when you call hashCode method, now what will happen, guys? JVM, where it will search this hashCode method?
Ob-
Initially, where it will search?
In our class.
In test class.
Test class only it will search.
Yes, sir.
That's what we discussed in polymorphism.
But here we didn't provide it.
No, that's what. See here, T1. Here, T1 means what? Internally, which method it will call? T1 dot toString method it will call.
Yes, sir.
Right? So what is the T1? T1. What is the reference variable here? T1. What is the reference variable type here? Test.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
What is the runtime object? Test.
test.
So now, test class, first of all, it will go and verify whether do we have toString method implemented or not. In test class, do we have toString method? We
No,
don't
sir.
have. So that
No.
time, we go and search. In super class, it
Object.
will go and search. What is the super class here? Object class. In object class, do we have toString method?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have. Now, object class toString method is executing. While executing object class toString method, what is the implementation? Get class dot get name at the rate integer dot to x string of hashCode method. So which method we are calling again? hashCode method we are calling. Right? Now, when you call hashCode method, then again JVM will come where, guys? Now
Class test.
test class here. What is the
Yes,
runtime
sir.
object here? Test, right?
Test. Yes,
First
sir.
it will go and verify runtime object type. Okay, what is the runtime object type here? Test. In test
Test.
class, do we have hashCode method implemented or not?
No.
Right? Do we
Yes,
have
sir.
any hashCode method here?
No,
Don't
sir.
have.
No.
So then super class hashCode method, it will go and verify, do we have any hashCode method in super class? In the object class, do we have hashCode method?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Yes, we have hashCode method. Then object class hashCode method has been invoked and object class hashCode method is executing in this time, in this scenario. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very, very important, guys. This is the flow of polymorphism. That time, I think already we discussed. We spent a lot of time. I don't know. You guys are not revising, it seems. Okay. Now, you tell me what is the output here? What is the output here? Test.
Test
at the rate.
hashCode.
Okay. Some number. We don't know what is the number. Right? So here, object class hashCode method. How it is implementing this object class hashCode method implementation, guys? How they are implemented in object class hashCode method? Internally, they are using address of the object, and on top of that, they are using some pattern, some algorithm to generate what? Unique code. We don't know
Unique
what is
hashCode.
the what is the algorithm they used. Okay, so let's suppose like this, there is a number. Let's assume, guys, AEFE 1 2 3. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so here, if you see this number, maybe test at the rate. Okay. So like 1 2 A E hexadecimal number, right? So like this, you may get, right? We don't know what is the exact number. If you execute, then you will see. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No. In this case, you tell me T1 dot toString method. Okay. Now toString method will be invoked. So which class toString method will be invoked, guys, here in this scenario?
Object class.
Object class.
Object class. Okay. Object class toString method will be invoked. Okay. Now internally object class toString method, which method it is calling? hashCode method is calling. See, right? Object class toString method internally which method is calling? Which method it is calling? hashCode method.
hashCode method.
Okay.
So now which hashCode method is invoking now? Object class hashCode method only invoking, executing. Understand? In this
Yes, sir.
scenario.
Yes, sir.
Clear? So here, this toString object class toString method only calling object class hashCode method. Clear everyone? In this scenario, the first scenario, this is the first scenario.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, example. Let's do one. Okay, no. We will see second scenario now. Ready? Shall we start second scenario?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now, see now. Class test. Okay, same int I. Okay, now same constructor I'm taking int I. This dot I is equal to I. Okay, now, sorry guys. Here I'm overriding hashCode method. Okay, I'm overriding what guys? HashCode method. Here I'm return I. Okay, return I. Now I'm taking public static void main method string args. Right? In the main method, what I'm doing now? Same. I'm creating test t1 is equal to new test. Okay. While creating first test class of t1 object, I'm passing what 10. I'm creating test t2 object now. While creating test t2, I'm passing what 100. Fine. Now system.out.println of t1. Okay. System.out.println of t2. Clear guys?
Yes, sir.
clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you tell me what is the output here?
10.
Test at the rate of 10.
Test
Huh?
at rate 10.
Test at the rate
10.
10.
10.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. 10.
Test at the rate 10.
No,
10
100.
and 100, sir.
No, sir. 10 and 100.
10 and 100. No,
In
I
the
am asking
hash
first
code,
output. I am asking first output. This one.
10.
10, sir.
System.out.println of t1. What is the output I am asking?
10.
10.
Test at the rate.
Test at the rate.
Test at the rate 10 only 10.
Test at the rate 10.
Test at the rate of
Test at the rate of huh? Tell me
Sir,
guys.
Test at the rate 10, sir.
Test at the rate 10. Everyone is same page?
Only 10, sir.
Only 10. Who is that? Sweta, I think.
ఇందాక హ్యాష్ కోడ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్పినప్పుడు అలానే చేసాం కదా సార్.
ఇందాక అలానే చేస్తే ఇప్పుడు కూడా అలానేనా?
But we are not implementing test.
స్పెసిఫిక్ గా హ్యాష్ కోడ్ ఇక్కడ
I don't
మెన్షన్
know
చేసాం
what is
కదా
the
సార్.
complexity you guys are facing here. See now. Fine. So now what I'm doing now, system.out.println of t1. I'm trying to print what? T1 object information. So now when you try to print T1 object information, internally which method it will call guys? T1 dot toString method. Right? So now T1 dot toString method it is calling. Now t1 dot toString. What is the reference variable here? t1 dot toString means what is the reference variable? By using which reference variable we are calling toString method? t1, right? So now what is the t1 type here? Test. Okay, I'm explaining one more time. Please listen carefully. What is the t1 type here? Test,
Yes.
right? What is the t1 type here? Test, right? So now what is the runtime object here? This is overriding, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
class test we have means we have what? Super class. Here we are overriding what? hashCode method, right? Now new test. Test t1 is equal to new test. So what is the runtime object here? What is the runtime object type here? Test.
Test.
Right? Based on runtime object only, right? The method resolution will be taken care
Yes, sir.
in the overriding, right? Now what is the runtime object type here? Test. So now in the test, okay, in the test class type, what is the type here? Test, right? In the test class, first JVM will go and verify, okay, do we have any toString method implemented or not? So do we have any toString method implemented in our test class?
No.
Don't have.
No. So now if you don't have, then JVM where it will go and search? In the
Object
super
class.
class, in the immediate super class, direct super class. So what is the direct super class, our test class in this scenario? Object class. In the object class, do we have toString method?
Yes, sir.
We have toString method. Now object class toString method will be executed, right? While executing object class toString method, what is the implementation we have in object class toString method? Get class dot get name, right? First get class dot get name means, okay, test, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the get class dot get name? What is the class name of this t1? Test.
Test.
Test
Test
At
class.
the rate.
at the
At
rate.
the rate.
Here, see, test. After that, at the rate. At the rate, it will be appending. Okay, at the rate. So after that, what we are calling now? We are converting hash code of this object into hexadecimal form, right? Now, which method it is calling? Hash code method. See here, right? Hash
Yes,
code
sir.
method is calling. Now, tell me, hash code method. Now, JVM where it will go and search first this hash code method? In
In
test
the
class or in object class?
test class.
Test class, because based on runtime object only, right? It will search. What is the runtime object type here? Test.
Test.
But in test class, first of all, it will go and verify, okay, whether hashCode method is implemented in test class or not. Okay, tell me, hashCode method implemented in test class?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, we implemented, right? Now, what is now? Our test class hashCode method will be invoked, right? So, what is the return type here? We are putting return I. I. So, return I means while executing this test t1 object, what is the I value?
10.
This dot I is equal to I. What is the I value now? 10.
10.
Understand? Now 10 will be added where? Here, hashCode method. hashCode method returns what? 10. After that, what we are doing? We are converting this 10 value 10 to which format?
Integer.
Hexadecimal format. No, hexadecimal format. See, hexadecimal format, right?
Yes, sir.
The hashCode will be converted into hexadecimal format. Now tell me, what is the hexadecimal value of 10? What is the hexadecimal value of 10?
1, 0.
0 to 9. After that, 10. See,
A.
what are the characters, guys,
A,
in
A, sir.
hexadecimal? A, small a. Understand? 0 to 9, A, B, C, D, E. That's it, I think. Up to E. 15, right?
F,
Total.
F, sir.
So 0 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay,
A to F, sir.
10 numbers. A to F or A to E?
A to F, F, sir.
A
A
to
to
F.
F, 16 characters, right? A to F, right? So now, what is the 10th place now? A.
A.
Understand? A
Yes,
is the
sir.
output here. Test at the rate A. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, what is the output of this one, the second one? System.out.println of T2.
Test at the rate hashCode of 100, sir.
Huh? No, hashCode of 100 means what is the output? Convert the decimal value into hexadecimal. Okay. Do you remember? All these things already we discussed, right?
Yes.
When did we discuss, guys, all these things?
Type
Initial
conversion,
classes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Data types.
Data types, right? While teaching data types, all these things we discussed. See, you're not revising the content. That's why you're not in the position to tell the proper answers. Oh, no. See, 10. What is the value of 10? 100. So we want to convert 100 into which format? Hexadecimal format. What is the hexadecimal value? 16. Oh, no, 16. How much 100, guys? Tell me. 16, 6, what is the value? 96, right?
Yes, sir.
16, 6, 96, I think. Right? What is the other value? 100 minus 96 means?
4.
Four.
4.
Right? What is the value now? 64. Okay? Test at the rate 64. This is the output. If you convert 100 into hexadecimal means 64 will be the output, guys. 64 will be the answer. Test at the rate 64. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Tell me. In this scenario, you tell me toString method. Which class toString method will be invoked now in this scenario?
Object
Which
class, sir.
toString method is executing? Object class.
Object class.
Right? Object class toString method. Okay. Now object class toString method is calling which method? hashCode method. Right?
Yes, sir.
Which class hashCode method is executing?
Test class.
Test class.
Yes, sir.
Understand? Test class hashCode method. Okay. So internally, this toString method is calling what?
Test class hashcode method.
hashCode method. Clear, everyone? The second scenario?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, clear.
No. Now I'm writing the third scenario. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, class test. Okay. Now, here, int I. Okay. Same constructor I'm taking. Test int I. This dot I is equal to I. Okay. This dot I is equal to I. After that, so here I'm overriding public string toString. Okay. Can I override toString method or not in our subclass?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We can override.
Return I. Can I return I here?
Yes, sir.
Can I return I? What is the I data type?
Int.
No, it is
But what is the
integers.
return type here? String. How can you return integer value? If string is a return type, you cannot, right? So that's why what I'm doing now, I'm appending double quote. Just empty string. Okay. Now int plus string will become what? String.
String.
Right? So now return string. What is the return type? String, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So now I'm overriding public int hashCode method. Can I override hashCode method
Yes, sir.
in my class? Right.
Yes, sir.
So now here return I. Okay? No. No. Now I'm creating public static void main method string args. Okay? Now here, now tell me test T1 is equal to new test of 10. Okay, next test T2 is equal to new test of 100. Okay, come on, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now I'm printing system.out.println of T1. Okay, and after that I'm printing system.out.println of T2. Okay, so main method is closed, class closed. Now tell me what is the output here?
10, 100.
Sir,
10,
10,
100.
Tell me, guys, what is the output?
10, 100, sir.
10, 100.
100.
Okay, why, guys? Why 10, 100?
Toasting method
We
over.
are overriding
Yeah,
to.
understand? See here,
Yes, sir.
system.out.println of T1. So T1, we are trying to print what? T1 object information. So it internally calls which method? ToString method.
Toastring method.
T1.ToString method. So what is the object reference? By using which object reference we are calling ToString method? T1,
Test.
right? T1. So now what is the T1 type here? Test,
Test.
right? So what is the runtime object type here?
Test.
Test. Now in test class, first of all, JVM will go and verify, do we have
We have a
ToString method or
toString
not?
method or not.
Right? Yes, we have a ToString method. So now test class ToString method will be invoked and test class ToString method will be executing now. Right? Now in the test class ToString
Yes.
method, what is the return type we are providing? I
I
plus empty
plus
space.
empty
Now,
string.
what is the I value for test T1 object? We are passing 10, right? So here I
Yes.
value will be 10. So now return 10. Here returning what? 10. So that's what in the first year, what is the output now? 10. Right?
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
In the second object, what is the output?
100.
100.
Right? So this time, hashCode method will not be called. Why? We are not
Toasting.
calling hashCode method in ToString method. See,
Yes,
our
sir.
class ToString method will be executing.
In
Okay. If you so if you give chance to execute object class ToString method, that time only hashCode method will be invoked internally.
Yes, sir.
Understand? But
Yes,
here
sir.
we are not giving chance to execute what? Object class
Hash.
ToString method. Because we overrided ToString method in our subclass. So that's what our subclass ToString method will be invoked. Understand?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between ToString method and hashCode method?
Yes, sir.
Right? What are the scenarios you have to take in care?
Sir, can you explain the second case scenario? hashCode scenario.
Which one? This one.
Second, yeah, in this hashCode, test @A. First, it will verify do we have any hash toString method in the test? First
No,
T1. So
see. Let me execute one more time, guys. Please listen carefully.
yes,
See
yes,
this
sir.
already. I think we completed as part of polymorphism. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you guys are not revising the content. Okay. If you're not revising, definitely you will not get anything, guys. You have to revise. See here what I'm doing. Okay. Now, this is our test class. Everyone agrees? This is our test class. Who
Yes,
has
sir.
written this test class? We have written, right? We only created this test class. Fine. So now, what is the direct superclass, direct parent class for every Java class, guys? Tell me. What is the by default superclass or parent class for every Java
Object
class?
class.
Object
Huh?
class.
plus
Object class, right? So for
Yes,
test
sir.
class, what is the parent class now? Object class,
Object class.
right? Everyone agree?
yes, sir.
Right. Now, come on. So now, in this scenario, in this test class, what I am trying to print system.out.println of T1. I am creating test class object and I am creating T1 test T1 class object and test T2 object. How many objects I created? Two objects. One is T1 object, Another one is T2 object, right? Which type of objects these two are? Test class objects. Come on, guys. Now
Yes, sir.
here I'm trying to print our system.out.println of T1. I'm trying to print T1 object information. So internally, which method it will call?
toString.
ToString method.
ToString method it will call, like dot ToString. Like this, internally it will call. If you try to print, let me increase font size, guys. So now T1 dot, okay, ToString method. Okay, so like that it will call internally. Am I right?
Sir.
Right. So now, so we are calling which method? ToString method. Okay, by using which object reference we are calling? T1.
T1.
Right. Now, what is the T1 type?
Test type.
Test. Right. So now, what is the runtime object?
Test.
New test. So what is the runtime object type here? Test. Means
Test
same.
type.
Okay. Same.
Yes.
Right. Same type. Test type. Now, JVM, where it will go verify the ToString method?
Inside test class.
Test class. First of all, JVM will go and verify in test class, do we have ToString method or not? Okay. So do we have ToString method in our test class?
We don't have.
We don't have. If you don't have ToString method in our class, then JVM, where it will go and search?
It's
Object
super class, object class.
Super class. So what is the super class here? Object class.
Object
In
class.
object class, do we have ToString method?
We
Yes.
have. Internally
We
we
have, right? Now object class ToString method is going to be executed, right? Now while executing object class ToString method, what is the implementation?
Get class name.
Get
Get class
This is
dot
the
get class.
implementation.
name.
Get class dot get name. Now what is the get class dot get name? Here T1.
Test.
What is the object type? T1 type. T1
Yes.
type. What is the class name? Test.
Test.
That's what test. Okay. Test is printing. Fine. After that what? At the rate. So that's what test at the rate. Fine. Up to here.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now, after at the rate, what we are calling now? We are converting hashCode into hexadecimal, right? No, which method we are calling now? Hashcode method we are
hashCode
calling.
method.
Here, hashcode method. Okay.
Hmm.
This is what, guys? Method, right?
Yes, sir.
Hashcode method we are calling. Fine. So now, when you call hashcode method, then JVM will see. So what is the type here? What is the runtime type? Runtime object type here. Based on runtime object only, right? The method resolution will be taken care in the overriding case. In the
Yes,
polymer
sir.
case.
JVM.
Test.
So what is the runtime object type here? Test
Test.
class.
Test
Test.
type.
Now JVM will go and verify in test class, do we have any hashcode method or not? Understand? So in this scenario, do we have hashcode method in our test class?
We have it.
We have it. So what is the implementation of the, now this
It is
hashcode method will be executing, right? While executing, what is the implementation we provided? Return I.
Returning I.
What is the I value for the first object? 10.
10.
Right? Return I means what? 10. Right? Now 10 will come to where? Here. Hashcode. Hashcode method returns what? 10.
10.
So now this 10 value we are converting to whom now? Hexadecimal
Hexastring.
format. Understand? Now what is the hexadecimal value of 10? Small a.
Okay.
Understand? See,
Yes, sir.
hexadecimal means what? 16, right?
Yes, sir.
16 hexadecimal. See, 0, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. After that, small a. After that, B, C, D, E, F. Count it. 16, right?
Yes, sir.
How many letters, guys? 16. So this is the hexadecimal value, guys. Hexadecimal range. So that's what. Please go and see all the, the basic videos, initial videos. I clearly explained each and every scenario I explained. how to convert decimal value to hexadecimal, octal, everything. In detail, I explained. So that's what I told you, right? These are the basics. If you're good at basics, then remaining concepts will be easy. Fine. So now, what is the 10 value now here in the hexadecimal? A, small a. Understand? So that's what your test at the rate A. Okay, we are getting finally. Right? Next, system.out.println of T2. Right? So in T2 hashCode method, what we are returning? Return I. I means what? What is the T2 object value? 100 here. Right? Now how to convert value 100 to hashCode? We need to divide into 16. 16 6 are 96. So what is the remaining value? 4.
4.
4.
6-4. So what is the hexadecimal code now? 64. Okay. So this is the 64 is the hexadecimal code now. So that's what test at the rate 64. I mean hexadecimal value. What is the hexadecimal value of 100 means 64. That's it. Clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Thank you.
Right, guys. Okay. So like this. Okay. So hashCode method. Okay. ToString method. Okay. So we have different patterns, guys. ToString was hashCode. Okay. Clear now?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are allowing to execute object plus ToString method means it internally calls what? hashCode method.
That's good.
If you are not allowing object plus ToString method means what? Internally your ToString method will be executing. Okay, internally your ToString method will not call what? hashCode method.
That's good.
Okay, that's what in the third scenario you will see as what? 10 and 100 as an output here. Okay. Hope you people clear. What is hashCode method? What is the purpose of hashCode? Okay.
That's clear, sir.
Purpose we will use everything. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys. Okay, tomorrow we will see equals method. Thank you all.